everybody, and welcome back to the 100th episode of the Triboro Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Justin Alonso, joined by Nicholas O'Brien. How the hell did we make it to the good old century mark?
Determination, willpower, and too much free time.
I was gonna say, and being idiots and having a
That too.
lot of hot air.
That's an important part as well.
But yeah, thank you.
Cool.
Again, we're
Repping.
idiots, so we don't have anything special planned except for obviously planning the Subway series because that was
Yes.
so intentional.
Yeah, sure.
Every time we missed weeks, it was definitely because we had to space it out, not
Yeah.
because I was being lazy. No.
It's like, guys, they're playing the Subway Series in the third week of May. We gotta cut back.
But it's 2023. We don't have the schedule yet. You shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I know, but yeah. Before we get into the actual Subway series itself, MLB had a rivalry weekend. What was your opinion on it?
The idea with a lot of things Major League Baseball does.
Yep.
I like the idea. The idea is there. The execution is not.
I agree.
I think excuse me. I think something like, the Subway series makes sense. Who was it? I think was it Reds Royals? I think I'm
No.
pretty sure no, it wasn't.
Uh,
Guardians Royals?
no. Yeah, Cardinals
It
Royals.
was.
Yeah.
It was Cardinals Royals, yes. Like that makes sense. But then you got, I guess Philly and Pirates make sense, but it's just
I mean, poop.
the poop game. But I don't know. It's just a lot of these games, like you
Dodgers
got a lot of
Angels. Dodgers Angels.
Dodgers
Cubs
Angels
White
make sense.
Sox.
Right. Checks out. Then you got Tigers Blue Jays.
Yeah. Astros Rangers.
Yeah. What other one?
Reds
Yeah, Braves Red
Guardians.
Sox. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Rockies Diamondbacks. What are we doing?
That one was Twins Brewers. I Do you know how many interleague games there were?
I'm gonna guess like 5.
11.
Damn.
I think that may be part of kind of my thing was there's no way there's 11 interleague rivalries.
Yeah.
I feel like some of them were kind of just like forced in there. Oh wait,
Right.
I mean Braves kind of makes sense. Braves because Boston Braves.
Yeah, I guess. I get that's probably what their thought process was. But like,
Yeah,
again, I don't really think there's a rivalry there.
it's th- this is more location weekend than rivalry weekend.
Yeah, I think they probably should have marketed it a little different or just have a
Mm.
different name. Because when I think of rivalries, I'm thinking Yankees, Red
Yeah, you
Sox,
didn't even have the top three rivalries in
Braves,
baseball.
right? Like Dodgers, Giants, and or Padres, like
Cubs, what's their faces? Cardinals.
right, like all the old school stuff. But it's just like this is just hey, you play in either the same state or very close together.
You
You're
play
playing
50 miles away from the other one, but
right,
no,
so
that
like I don't know.
I think
Again,
that's
good idea, poor execution.
I like the idea a lot. I think there were just a couple too many weird matchups because even then, like the Subway series, love the Subway series. Obviously, the Yankees have two, maybe even three rivalries that would more consider rivals than the Mets right now,
Right,
and
right.
the Red
But
Sox.
the other
Yeah,
thing, sorry to interject, but the one thing I will say, it's like you ask a more casual baseball
yeah.
fan, I think they would probably put Mets higher up. Like you and I kind of agree that
You
there's
put them
not
above
much
Astros
there. Me personally, I wouldn't.
as a casual fan. You put them above Yankees
A
Astros.
casual fan, I feel like yes, because like oh they play in New York, they gotta. You know
Fair.
what I mean?
I mean,
But
even then,
again,
like I feel like even a casual fan knows about the trash cans.
yeah, I guess, but
But you can't bank on the casual fan knowing shit.
yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I just eh,
Yeah. I feel like there definitely was some missed opportunity. I think what this all boils down to is they could have named it differently.
Honestly, yeah, that's probably it. If they named it something else, we're like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
good job. But
yeah.
yeah,
Like
it doesn't do it for me.
some like the battle for like the state, battle for the land, some you know what
Right.
I mean? Like battle for
State
the area,
battle,
just something
fucking
to like I don't know. But
yeah, something else.
whatever. Battle for the
Yeah,
city, who knows, but
yeah,
anyways, getting into the actual
yeah.
Subway series itself. The Yankees won
Take it away.
2-1. I am so happy the Yankees won because I've had a take for so long that the Subway series is fun. It is cool. And if it wasn't for Juan Soto, at the end of the day, this would mean probably nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
Especially because MLB has the easiest marketing opportunity of all fucking time playing it on 9/11, but they don't. I don't know why MLB refuses to do it. You had one game that you did it, and it was the most electric baseball
Exactly.
game of all time. The game
Absolutely.
itself was awesome, but you had some of the best marketing I've seen baseball do with the FDNY versus NYPD. All that you had the police stations, the firehouses, all that. I will give them credit because they did have watch parties at the World Trade Center,
Yeah,
and
that
that
was
was
cool.
pretty cool. But yeah, to me, it doesn't have as much juice as other people make it out to be.
I think this year
This
there was
year is
definitely more
different,
juice.
yeah, because of
Yes,
Juan
but
Soto.
right. But again, like you said, without him, it's kind of like, all right.
What's your opinion on all those antics, by the way, from both sides?
I think Yankees fans are absolutely pathetic. This
Mm.
is embarrassing.
Mm.
The guy was on your team for 7 months. Mets fans got over Jacob DeGrom leaving Texas quicker than Yankee fans are getting over Soto. I don't understand how more people aren't talking about how embarrassing it is.
I honestly don't care.
It's like, oh, we're gonna turn our backs on you.
That was a little childish. That it's like okay,
Okay,
whatever.
he owed you nothing. He was a free agent.
Mm.
Everybody and their mother knew he was gonna be a free agent, and everyone thought at least I'm gonna call it 90% of people thought he was going to the highest bidder. And guess what? He did.
Mm.
He owes you nothing. He wasn't a homegrown player. He was there for one season. He would never said, "Oh, I want to be a Yankee for life. Oh, I want to be here forever."
He did
He
say
owed
stuff
you
close to that
nothing.
though.
What'd he say?
He said how much he loved the pinstripes, how like he loved being there, and just I forget the other exact quotes, but there are other quotes that like were when he wasn't even on the Yankees, when he was on the Nationals, about how he said how much he wanted to be a Yankee.
And he was, and he decided not to. So like, I don't know. I still that even there, I don't feel like he owes you anything.
Yeah.
Like I can't even say because I was thinking about it like off camera because I have a lot of thoughts on it. Like I was thinking like it's okay to feel slighted, but even then it's not because what are you slighted by? That a free agent didn't sign with your team?
Yeah.
That the rental, the 1 year guy didn't sign with your team? Like again, he owes you nothing. I don't understand why so many Yankees fans are taking this to heart.
Because of
I don't know
how
if you
elite
have
he
like a
was in the
different perspective
postseason.
on it. Sure, but that happens. You have rentals that leave.
My thing is
I'm not pissed that Chris Bassett left after 2022. Different
okay.
players,
That's all. Yeah, I was
obviously,
gonna say that's also very
but
different.
still, he was there for a season.
Mm.
1,
Mm.
7 months.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
My thing is, you could have, and say what you want. This is not me trying to be all high and mighty, but you could have had your number retired at Monument Park. You could have gone into the Hall of Fame as a Yankee, which, and this is no slight to the Mets. There's something to that that's special. It's with the storied franchise being mentioned the same thing as Ruth, DiMaggio, Garrick, all that. There is something to that. And to leave for money is where I think a lot of people are like, okay, fuck you. After talking about how much you love to be a Yankee, after showing how much all the energy with the fans, all that, that's why.
But like, I think the whole like, going into the Hall of Fame with pinstripes is so overplayed.
I
Completely overplayed. Yankees haven't won in how many years?
So many guys talk about how they want to do that, though. I don't think it's overplayed. Like
Sure.
you could
Did
say it's
Soto?
overplayed, but there's a lot of people players that still talk about it to this day about how much that means to them.
Sure, and that's
And
great
sure,
for
they
them,
haven't
but
won
that's
in a
not the
bit.
case for everybody.
No, I know. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it is, but I'm just saying why people are mad. My thing is, you know how crazy Yankee fans are? Knew there was going to be something.
Sure, I can understand like being frustrated, kind of like, oh man, like I wanted him to be Yankee forever.
Yeah.
Sure, but to be childish and turn your back on him and call him names and curse him out the entire series and throw shit at him, that's insane.
They do fuck whoever, like, they do that for anyone. That's not
But
just
again,
Juan Soto.
what did he do to you?
Left.
Altuve, I get.
He left.
Like anyone else, I get. But yeah, he left in free agency because that's his right. I don't get it.
Did they actually throw stuff? Because I didn't see throwing stuff.
Yeah, I saw at least, you know what? To be fair, I didn't see it. My parents are telling me because I didn't get to watch Sunday's game that he apparently threw a ball into the crowd, and whoever got the ball threw it right back at him.
I mean, I wouldn't say that's bad.
If you're throwing the ball back at the guy, it's not like you're playing catch.
I wouldn't say that's bad. Like, yeah,
How?
obviously, like, you shouldn't throw it back. But when I hear throwing stuff, I'm thinking beer cans.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm thinking beer, but that
fair, but still.
That's what he throws the ball into the crowd, you throw it back. I don't think that's that big of a deal.
If you're throwing the ball back at the guy, then I don't know. I have a little issue with that.
But I also don't think it's a thing of you could say Yankee fans are pathetic because they threw a ball back.
Oh no, I'm saying they're pathetic because of the way they acted towards him, not just because of they threw.
I'll say the only thing I thought was like a little like okay was the turning the back. Outside of that, I don't really. Outside of that, I don't really care.
I don't understand the amount of hate he gets.
It's because of how loved he was.
That's great. Jacob deGrom was a Met for God knows how many years and left in free agency the moment he got the chance. Do you see people cursing him out?
But at the same time, he also Jacob deGrom was
a better player.
Listen. I'm going to say that. I'm going to say that. Jacob deGrom was a long-term relationship. So it may sting at first, but you're going to look back on the positive memories. Juan Soto was a 1-year thing, and you're pissed that you only had 1 year. I think that's what it boils down to. The Yankee fans are so pissed they only had 1 year with him.
Sure, but again, I don't think that warrants fuck Juan Soto and he's a bum and he's a traitor.
You're getting mad at New Yorkers for saying he's a bum?
Well,
that's like the default line.
You know what I mean. But again, I think it's completely overplayed.
I mean,
and
I was just saying, my thing is, you know what you're getting into.
Absolutely, that's not the point. The point is that you have to know what you're getting into because, people have their panties in a twist because you left in free agency being a free agent. Like, yeah, I knew he was gonna. I think no matter what, I understand he was gonna get a negative reception because he was a Yankee. Now he's not. But the way he did and the way the media built it up and the way people keep talking about him, it's like, dude, this guy was there for 7 months.
The media is overblowing it. I've been saying that.
Well, yeah, that's
I was gonna come out and say too, but that I'm happy the Subway Series is done for a little bit, so I don't have to deal with this drama until July.
Yeah.
But it is. I think another thing is too choosing the crosstown rival. I think that's also part of it because if he signed with the Milwaukee Brewers, he's not getting booed.
Right. Who cares?
Like he may get like a little booed, like, "Oh, why did you leave?" Yeah, but it's not like to this level. And I think it's also just because like, oh, Subway Series, how hyped up it is. Yeah, all teams love a villain. All teams want to point at someone to be the villain, and he just got pointed out to be that villain.
Yeah, but the reason he's a villain is because, again, he left in free agency as a free agent.
Yeah.
I think it's so overblown.
Eh,
Completely over.
a
Like,
little bit, but
people got to settle down. Again, 7 months.
I will say
Relax.
Soto also didn't do himself any favors going out because the whole thing about how he kind of just cut off communication with the Yankees players in the offseason.
Yeah.
And a lot of kind of like the weird
But yeah,
stories.
he cut off communication with the Yankees, and yet Brandon Nimmo can still text him. So it's kind of like the two-way street.
Yeah. It's also it's a lot of stuff of like why wasn't he at Judge's MVP or was the MVP? Yeah, why wasn't he at the MVP ceremony? Why wasn't he at
He's
like a
not on
bunch?
the team.
There were former Yankees that were there.
Current former Yankees.
Yeah, that were not on the team that were there.
I don't know. Again, I don't think he owes you anything.
But I'm just
He
saying
was a
that's
rental.
probably why, because well,
But I don't agree on getting upset by it. I'm not telling people like, all right,
yeah,
I know this is coming off like a lot of this is how you should act, but it's not. Personally, I don't agree on being upset on a guy who's no longer on the team, who's on the team for 7 months, for not being at a team event. I know it
because of
wasn't a
how
team
much
event.
him and Judge like they were like best friends. Because you could
Maybe they're
anyone
just
could tell
good work friends.
I wouldn't go that far. Anyone that anyone
Correct
that
me if I'm wrong. Did you ever see them outside of the stadium
yeah, there
last
were
year
events
hanging
that they were at kind of, and
out? Okay,
um
okay. I honestly didn't
I
know.
think there may have been like a Rangers game or a Knicks or some game I think they
That
were at together.
that might
But
be like a team outing.
I mean there were 3 or 4 guys. I
That could be a team thing.
I
I
feel like
don't think that warrants being Aaron Judge and Juan Soto are best friends.
I mean okay, you also didn't watch them every single game.
No, that's fair. That's completely fair.
That's the big thing. You
That's
watch them
fine.
every single game, you'd be like, yeah, these guys are best friends.
I just think it's different seeing it on the field and seeing it off the field.
Again, you didn't see the relationship they had.
Fair enough.
Like when Judge hit that home run in the World Series, Juan Soto was practically unzipping his pants and sucking him off on live television. Granted, that's like a big example.
That's the
That-
World Series.
That's a
but okay.
huge example, 100%. But even like the regular season games, they'd like if one of them had an off day, the other one was DHing, they would just be like sitting there talking to each other like the entire time.
Fair.
I think that's part of it, but
Sure.
we could run circles around this.
Yeah.
There's one more thing I was gonna say. I will say, I was kind of like a little. I don't want to say annoyed, but I was kind of like, really, when Soto was like warming up in like practically the infield.
I did see that.
Yeah, he was practically warming up, and like he was so shallow in right field when he was doing warm up tosses. He was practically in the infield.
Why do you have an issue with that?
I was just like, okay. I don't know.
Why? So he could hear people call him slurs and curse at him the
Okay,
entire time?
let me say this. Curse at him, say like the fuck you, whatever. You call him a slur, like, dude, you're a child.
Yeah. Well, let me be fair. I don't know if that happened, but I wouldn't be shocked.
There's probably there probably was one. It's safe
That's what I'm
to
saying.
assume that there was a couple.
There's at least one.
Yeah.
But personally, I wouldn't want to deal with that. I don't need fucking people like
But it's
cursing
the
me
whole
out.
thing of like, oh, how much he embraces it, how much he embraces like the negativity. How it's 50,000 versus 1, all that. How he rises.
And he did.
What?
And he did. I think he handled it well.
Yeah, he handled it well.
The tip of the helmet to everyone booing him. I thought that was funny.
That was also the first inning of the first game, before he played the field.
Yeah.
But
no, that was
as it went
as
it went on, you could tell he was just shocked.
I'm sure after a while you get tired of everyone just saying "fuck you," "fuck you," and I'm sure people went after his family too because that's been the hot thing.
You do that, you're a loser.
That's been the hot thing, talking about his mom and the suite and everything.
I was gonna say you can make jokes about the shopping spree, but don't make them in bad nature. You know what I mean? Like you could, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I get
You
what
can
you
make
mean.
a joke like, oh, he chose his mom's shopping spree over being a Yankee. Like you can make like that's I feel like in good nature.
Yeah, that's fine.
But
But
if
at the
you're
same
like,
time,
don't
that's like the line.
that yeah,
Because
that is
like
the
you
that is
shouldn't be bringing into it in the first place.
yeah
Like if he made a decision based on his mom, I think that's his right.
yeah that definitely is yeah
If he wanted to let his mom, have a suite. Again, this is all very speculative too. Like
yeah
we just know that he has the suite.
yeah
That's it. But if he made a decision based on his mom and what he wants to do for his mom, I applaud that. Good for him. Take care of your parents. B, that's his right.
yeah.
That's what he wants to
Especially
do.
being a kid from the Dominican
Fair enough.
Republic, and it's not easy doing that. So you have to have a strong support system. So in this, obviously, reading between the lines, I don't know how the relationship is, but if he's doing that for his mom, you would think she was probably, and just knowing moms generally,
Right.
you would think
Hispanic
that's a big
moms
reason to it.
coming from
But
me, growing
yeah,
up in a Hispanic family, like
coming from
there's a huge respect and just like care for family in a Hispanic household.
yeah, with my mom being non-Hispanic, but my dad being Hispanic, and how much my mom overreacts when we call her Cuban because of that.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
So again, at the end of the day, like you said, we can go circles and over and over. I think it's so overplayed. Overplayed. He was there for 7 months. Get over it.
well, actually, it was there for 8,
Are you
but
really gonna do there for 15
it
years?
was more like 8. But and
Cool.
yes, they will.
Like, I think it's just embarrassing, but
Mm.
you could
You
disagree.
need a villain, take a villain.
Sure,
I
but
will. I will say though, Francisco Lindor did get off easy.
oh yeah,
Like
I'm sure he would have been the next punching
oh
bag.
no, I would have been dude if I'm there. I love Francisco Lindor. I would have been booing him just because. Not I love Francisco Lindor, phenomenal guy. You kill us, boo you.
Yeah,
That is
that's see,
like
that's fair.
Mets fans boo Judge. To me, that's the same
Sure,
thing as Lindor.
yeah. You're an excellent player who performs well against my team. Fuck you.
I find it funny when like the Brewers booed Judge. It's like, really?
What did we do to you?
Like what? Like that's where I like it's a little weird. But if it's like
Hmm.
a rivalry, a guy absolutely shreds you, like,
Yeah,
if it is that, it's like
yeah.
for sure you got booze on like somewhere else. Like when they played at Oakland, the few Oakland fans that were there would like boo him. It's like, what did
What did
he?
we do to you?
I mean, the
What
wild
happened?
card home run in 2018, maybe.
Yeah,
Like,
you really gonna hold that? But
um, just don't actually have a starting pitcher and not do an opener in a wild card game on the road. I don't know. Who was that home run off of? Do you know?
no,
Liam Hendricks.
goaded.
First inning pitcher Liam Hendricks. Anyways,
Oh,
into
I
actual
believe
games themselves. My notes are very inconsistent with the game, so I'll try and like
okay.
fill in a little bit of the blanks. So game one was Tyler McGill versus Carlos Rodon. It was kind of, I believe at this point it was 0-0. Then in the third inning, bases loaded, broken bat single, um,
And
to
bases
Lindor.
were loaded because of a little fucking nub by Cody Bellinger in the field single.
Um, up the middle, Lindor made it. I texted you in the moment, Lindor, you just got to eat that. Like
Yeah,
that is a hit through and through.
it's twofold. Lindor should have held it, and because Lindor threw it, Pete Alonso should have came off the bag to make sure the ball doesn't get away, which it did, and that
Yeah.
allowed the other run to score.
I in defense of Pete though, you're thinking, okay, I had the best defensive shortstop. This is his thought process. Obviously, he may not be the best defensive, but when you play with the guy, you're
Right.
gonna think he's the best.
Yeah.
I had the best defensive shortstop in baseball. I trust him to give me an accurate throw.
Right.
No matter
I feel
because
like
he's
you
seen him
see it
make.
coming
Yeah,
that it's not
that's
near
it.
him.
That too. But again, Pete Alonso, we've talked. He's kind of like defensively.
hit the defensively is him actually trying to make the play.
Yeah.
Him catching at first base has never been the issue. He's been really good at receiving and
Mm,
the scoops and all that.
mm,
It's when he tries to make a play is when you're holding your breath,
yeah.
which we saw later.
I mean, you could also make an argument that would be making the play. But
Physically attacking the ball. I don't know what you want me to say.
whatever. But Yeah, just thrown away. Second run scores. Then it became a 2-0 game. Forget how the other runs were scored, but then it kind of just like avalanched on. It was
Yeah,
6-1
it
going into
was.
the ninth inning, and then
I
you
was
got
just gonna say,
the late run.
yeah,
And just on a
that was
Yankee
that.
perspective, I wanted to touch on Paul Goldschmidt really quick. He has
Go for it.
21 hits with runners in scoring position this year.
Must be nice.
I mean, outside of him, you have a couple other guys, but that's
Must.
ridiculous. 21 hits with runners in scoring position. Jack Curry brought it up. I think it was because they'll do something like during the seventh inning stretch, like between the whatever. They'll do like a quick yes, like the booth like recap, whatever, with like Jack Curry or whatever in the studio, and like he said, like, was there a better when you include contract? Was there a better signing than Paul Goldschmidt this offseason? When you include the
You
fact that
can't
you're
talk
only
about
paying
that
him
in
12
May.
million
You can't talk about that in May.
so far, so far.
Sure, yeah, so
That
far.
that's what he was saying. So far with how they
Okay,
have
so far.
produced. Let me
Sure.
let me preface that. Yes, not
Yes.
yes, because he
Better.
could
Better.
whatever. That's what Curry said. He said so
Yes.
far he has been the best signing of the offseason
Yeah,
when you
value is
include
absolutely
contract.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's been a lot better than I expected,
yeah,
and it's also due to the fact that he just completely changed his approach,
yeah.
which is just working for him. So,
I did say there was a chance for that
yeah,
with him
I
talking
give
with
him up
Judge
for
because everyone talks about how 2022
that.
spring training, Judge and Goldschmidt, they kind of like sat down, they changed a lot of stuff
Yeah,
together, and Unk still got it. But yeah,
I
you
wish my uncle
guys ended up getting Weaver to come out.
Ha!
I mean that didn't really have that
Joked
much
on you.
hindsight. That didn't really have much of an effect.
Nope. But
Oh
the day of, that was my takeaway from the
yeah,
game. I'm like, all right, great. You made Weaver throw a pitch or whatever.
yeah,
But yeah, Tyler McGill was just horrible this game. This
yeah.
is now the third straight start in a row. Well, you know what? In my notes, I have Tyler McGill's worst start yet for the third start in a row.
Yep.
He's just the calendar flips to May, and I don't know what happens, but this guy just completely loses any ability to be a major league pitcher. He didn't have command. He walked 5 guys in less than 3 innings. I believe it was 3 or 4 in 1 inning, which was that third inning that just spiraled. And look,
It's can I
there
cut
was
you off?
some bad luck as well.
Yeah.
Hold on, because of the Bellinger hit and the Goldschmidt hit. I'm not gonna call it completely bad luck. It
One
just
run is
hit him where there
deserved.
wasn't. Absolutely, you cannot walk that many guys in an inning and think you're getting off scot free. The issue is you walk so many guys, you then have little dribblers like
Because
that,
you could
and it
even
just
make
causes
you could even make the
chaos.
counterpoint too that most shortstops also don't get to that ball, and that's 2 runs.
Right.
So granted, but
So,
obviously he has the defense behind him. He has who's behind him, whatever.
mhm.
But no, I was just thinking when you said that it was a Simpsons meme of this is the worst day of my life. This is the worst day of your
Yeah,
life so far.
yes, correct.
That that is Tyler
Right.
McGill every start.
'Cause I'm pretty
But
sure Tyler McGill needs to pitch against the Dodgers next. So
Jesus fucking Christ,
let's
gauntlet.
go for 4.
Um, nah, Rodon was. I texted you like there was a point where Rodon and McGill were having the same exact game up until that third inning.
They, ha- yeah. I mean, yeah. Basically, I was gonna say the same thing in a different way, but yeah, they
What?
had the same game. It's just McGill's luck, I guess, ran out with walking so many guys.
Yeah.
And he also walked like 3 in an inning while Rodon kind of spaced that
I was
out.
gonna say
Because I think
sprinkled it.
Rodon still walked like 4 guys, right?
I'm looking it up right now because I did
Yeah.
not write it down.
Yeah, he walked 4. But again, it was sprinkled.
But he also only gave up 2 hits.
Right.
So
So not a
six
lot of
base
base runners.
runners. Yeah.
Yeah. Miguel, on the other hand, also gave up 4 hits on top of the 5 walks.
We talk about this. You could give up a lot of walks if you don't give up hits.
Right. If you do both,
You're fucked.
whatever.
Like
Yeah.
get ready to learn
Too many
DFA.
base runners.
But
But
yeah, because 6 and
no,
5 innings isn't bad. But
what's it called? No, credit to Rodon because he obviously, I told you after the first Lindor at bat, he kind of handled Lindor. After that, you could just tell he wasn't on top of his game. So credit to Rodon for digging deep and getting through 5 for the Yankees,
And
but
when
very
Rodon is
frustrating.
not in his game, you are shitting your pants.
Right. Very frustrating from the Mets' perspective to not be able to pounce on that and kind of get him out of the game earlier. If not, at least score a couple more runs off of him.
Yeah. That was game
Trying to
one.
think trying
I
to
know
think if there's anything else, but I
Bellinger
don't
had
think.
a couple RBIs later. He had a really good
Yeah,
game.
he had a 3-for-4 game because of
Um,
course he did.
yeah. Trust me, I'll get into Bellinger later because we have like a Stars of the Subway Series kind of.
Yeah.
But then you got Game 5, which is 3-2 Mets win. It was Clark Schmidt versus Griffin Canning. Bottom of the third, DJ hit a short porch. I will say, it was
Porch shot.
gone in
It
3
was like
different
5.
stadium dimensions.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
say dimensions because it was also gone at the Trop, or not Trop, at
Yeah.
George M. Steinbrenner because it's the same
And
dimensions.
Tampa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 3
That
different
pissed me
stadium
off so much.
dimensions said it was a home run. At the same time, the way that I kind of thought about it is, as the Yankees, you know that this Mets team is the best in baseball at not giving up home runs. You are going to use every little advantage that you have. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
I think
I
it was, especially DJ LeMahieu, that has always been a thing he does. It's an approach thing with DJ.
Absolutely.
So I'm not going to, you could say like, oh, short porch or whatever. To me, he meant to do that.
No, I'm sure that was an approach thing. I'm not trying to say he got lucky or whatever. It's
just
just
annoying, yeah.
frustrating
Yeah.
when it happens. And yes, I know the Mets can do the same thing. I'm aware. I thought Brett Beatty fucking did the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's just
frustrating when you don't.
when your guy is, going strong and it's a scoreless inning and he nearly gets jammed and it goes over.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. I'm just like, all right. Cool.
DJ LeMahieu also, because he has looked, I don't want to say like a couple years ago DJ LeMahieu, but he's looked a lot better.
This looks serviceable.
When he was on, it was because he went to the other way at such like an elite level. It was so productive. So it also is DJ LeMahieu's strength, and all. So he is a guy that does get a lot of hits while getting jammed, while going the other way.
Right.
So
yeah, that's his game. I get it.
Yeah. But yeah, you even made a joke like this was the DJ LeMahieu revival game, resurgence
I
game.
thought it was gonna be. If
And
the Mets didn't, that was gonna be the narrative.
Yeah.
That was the DJ LeMahieu legacy game.
Yeah. I'll get into more to DJ when we get into the Bronx because there's a lot that I do want to talk about with him. But then you had like the bottom of the fourth, the Mets had a rally, they made it 2-1. I forget how the Yankees scored. I want to say it was the doubles by Dominguez and Volpe. Was that it?
Let me.
I forget how, but they ended up tying it up later. Then
Bellinger.
Bellinger, yeah. And then of course,
Yep.
And then he had a solo shot in the 8th inning. Lindor hit a sac fly. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I believe it was Pete.
I think it was Lindor.
Oh, it was Lindor. It was Lindor.
Yeah, because it was
right.
Lindor Soto with 1 out. That's
yeah.
But yeah, that happened. Then the Yankees just went down.
You want to touch on the Taylor
what happened
swing,
again?
no swing? When he got hit by the pitch, it was kind of like the half, because that set up the sac fly.
He swung.
I still never saw another angle. I cannot confidently say.
It was very close, but you could tell he swung. You know what I mean?
All SNY showed was like the front angle, and you cannot tell from that.
No, you can never tell on the front angle. You can never, unless it's like egregious. You can never tell on the front angle. The Yes Network showed the side angle, and you could tell he went. But anyways, I'm not gonna cry over spilled milk. There was calls that went both ways throughout the series. There was no egregious call.
No, I don't think there was anything egregious, but I do think the umpire was still kind of shit the entire
both
series.
Ways, yeah.
Yeah, both ways. Like the home plate, the balls from strikes were a little rough. I think.
Yeah. When I say egregious, I mean egregious
against
one side. That's what I meant. But even
that's fair.
If you get hit by a ball that's put in play, you're out, right? The base runner.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because they were talking about that so much on ESPN about like, oh, did that ball hit Judge in Game 3? And
Yeah,
and
but I
they're
mean,
like,
at that point, it was 2 outs, so,
yeah,
like, why does it matter?
they were talking about that for a good 2 or 3 minutes.
Like, and you wonder why MLB is, not renewing the contract with ESPN.
Dude,
Like, nobody likes the ESPN broadcast besides David Cohn.
if you put David Cohn as the primary play-by-play, not the primary analyst,
Analyst,
get Roberto Perez, or is it Robert or it's
Eduardo.
Roberto, right?
Eduardo.
And I'm an asshole.
You're
Eduardo
racist.
Perez, if you got him out of there, like there's so many times where like he said that Max Fried and Dave Peterson were two completely different pitchers. He said they were two opposite pitchers.
They could not be more similar.
He was saying like where they attack you, which okay,
Maybe, yeah.
fair.
I don't probably.
But they
Sure.
are very similar in the way. The only difference I would say is Dave Peterson walks a lot more guys.
Oh, 100%.
I think that's really the only. They are very
The
similar.
command is where they
Yeah,
separate.
command and velo. Even though Max Fried was throwing 97.
Holy crap.
Yeah, there was a couple, and he even said in the post game because one thing I like to do is like when I do my notes for like the week, I'll put the post game on in the background, and he was even saying like he kind of grabbed a little back.
Yeah.
Did you
Might
as well talk about the 9th inning just to give props to Diaz because I forget Judge was batting second, I believe, this game, so it was 9-1-2, and did he strike out the side?
No, Rice popped out.
Yeah. So yeah, he had 2 strikeouts, looked dominant. I will say like
This was the best he looked all season, let me just say.
My thing, just because I want to like dispel this whole like Aaron Judge like low leverage king whatever yada yada. He has the best WRC plus since 2019 in high leverage in all of baseball. You go, and even then, high leverage. I don't know if you know this, Nicholas O'Brien. You are facing the best pitchers in high leverage.
Usually.
90% of the time, yeah. You are facing some of the nastiest pitchers you will see in your entire life in high leverage. So, and also then again, he has 13 fucking at-bats in high leverage this year. No, 12, because you're not going to count the one last night. But
I think I'm not agreeing with it, let me be clear. I think it's just from the drop-off of his regular season overall stats to high leverage, which, again, is not fair because he's like, the best right-handed hitter in history versus an elite player in high leverage.
Which is like well, even then you can make the argument that it's a 166. I think it's 165. Whatever. 165 since 2019. His career WRC plus 176.
Yeah. So even then, it's not.
That's like such a minuscule.
But if you take like, what's his WRC plus in like the last 4 years?
I don't know.
I can do that quick. I'll find that out.
I feel like saying 2019 is fair though, because he only played like 100. Because 2020, he played I think 30 games because he had like the rib injury that he never got like fully healed. 2019, he only played about like 100 games.
Yeah.
So I think it's fair to say back to 20. It's 6 years, but at the same time, like whatever. But
let's see. Since 2019, he has a 184. But if you want to do it my way, since 2021, a 193.
So even better. All right, less than the last 4 years. Less than the last.
But that's the point I'm trying to make. In the last 4 years, he's been like the best player in baseball.
Yeah.
So, again, that drop off is going to look starker because again, he's going from the best player in baseball to an elite player.
Because I'll even push back on kind of some of the stuff too. This year with bases empty, 233 WRC plus, men on base 259, men in scoring 251.
Right.
So
high leverage is so finicky because there's such little
12 at bats on the year
that
in a month
does count as high leverage. That makes sense.
50 games, he has 12 at bats. And another reason too they don't have a lot of high leverage is because they hit so much.
They're winning.
And the times that they're not hitting to an absurd level, you have guys going 5 runs in 2 innings.
Right.
But rant over.
Okay. I will say, just quickly to wrap it up, Edwin Diaz striking out Aaron Judge,
Yeah.
I think he approached him really well.
That was a very good approach, yeah.
I liked it a lot. I think he also did kind of excuse me. What's it called? Like got back a little. I don't know if it was the first time, but it's one of the few times I remember him hitting 100 with his fastball.
You could say like adrenaline, just like crowd,
Yeah,
all
I think
that.
he did kind of reel back a little and get a little extra oomph.
There was one call that was borderline, that was low on Judge, that I will say it did clip the zone.
I mean that one.
Oh wait, okay, the yes
It
box was a lot different.
depends what MLB is different. Savant says different. The broadcaster will say different.
I'll I'll take my L on that because the yes broadcast, it was like a third in the zone.
Yeah, I'll get you the Savant one just so we can have
Yeah.
another.
Because my thing with Aaron Judge, because what I was gonna say, even if it's a strike, whenever it's borderline, I do get annoyed just because of the PTSD. Even if it is
It's
the right call.
on Savant, it's pretty in the box. Like it's
Okay.
not close. Like
Okay.
it is a strike.
It was just the yes box then.
Yeah.
That's just what it was.
Maybe they just forgot to adjust his height or what, but
But even then,
it's just funny seeing this because SNY obviously has the strike zone. It's just seeing it from like I don't know, something like Ben Rice, and then it's just like that, and then it's Aaron Judge.
yeah. But anyway, so I'll take my L on that. It's just past trauma that
Yeah.
maybe do that.
For
But
sure.
yeah, then going to game 6,
Game 3.
my notes are so fucked. We've talked about this. Would you say this was the best game in the Subway Series?
No.
No?
I think game 2 was.
I would only say this.
I do not think we got a lot of good games.
I
Is this more so on the Mets? I think they played sloppy. It wasn't a good entertainment.
Up until the second half of the bottom of the 8th, this was a very, very like this score does not do it justice. It was
That's
what?
fair. I'd probably just a little
6-2, right?
8-2, I think.
8-2, yes, 8. My fault.
Yeah. But you're right. You're right. It was a tie game for 90% of the game.
Yeah. Or like a 1-2 run game.
1-run game, yeah.
So I would only say from me personally, I think it was just because like the rubber match of the series, and
I also didn't get to watch it.
that too, yeah.
I only got to watch when things got bad.
But
because of course,
the first inning you had the Vientos error, then you had, I believe that the double by then you had Judge double, Bellinger double, scores 2 runs. When Bellinger hit the double, I think Pete tipped it with his glove.
He was right there.
Did it make contact with his glove? I think it did, but it was
be for sure.
But you also can't knock him for not making that play because that was such a tough play.
That was smacked.
But
that was not smacked. I thought it was hit. It looked like it was hit a lot harder.
Well, it's because pulled fly ball down the line. It's gonna feel like it was hit harder. How much was it? Now that just because you're saying it,
76 miles an hour.
I would have thought like 85, 90.
That's what I'm saying. I thought it was like 85, 90.
Yeah.
It was not a hard hit ball at all. He also got jammed. I didn't realize where this fucking pitch was. Because again, I didn't get to watch this.
Yeah.
I did see the play, but
anyways.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, they made it a 2-0 game. What's your because
I know you bag. Sorry.
What?
Because I'm just rewatching it. It might have hit the bag. Oh. Hold on. We're getting real live analysis.
We're live analysis. I mean, ESPN didn't mention it, but that's also because ESPN.
Shocker.
But while you're doing that, every chance I get, I want to hype up David Cohn, just because of how you literally hear him speak compared to everyone else in that booth, and it is so night and day. I've been saying it for so long. Like David Cohn, he'll probably do like, I'm just gonna throw out a number, probably like 40 yes games a year. I want him there every single day. I truly believe that he could be a primary analyst in any booth in baseball.
I did not realize until pretty recently that like the Paul O'Neill, Michael Kay, David Cohn trifecta is not really there all the time.
No.
I did not realize that.
No, not
Because like
really.
when coming from like S and Y, like you at least have Gary Cohen and one of Ron Darling and Keith
Yeah.
Hernandez. A lot of the time, it's all three of them. I did not realize it's like you said, like 70 games a year,
I not even.
maybe less.
Like I
Yeah,
would say that trifecta probably 30, 40 games.
right.
Then again, if it's and I said this before, if it's Cone O'Neal or if it's Cone Girardi, obviously with K in there, as long as it's one of those two, I am A-okay with either of that.
Right.
But yeah, then you had in the fifth inning, you had I forget how they scored the first run, the Mets, but I think it was just like a rally,
Jeff
ended up scoring a
McNeil
run.
single.
What'd you say? McNeil,
Jeff
yes.
McNeil single.
Then
Yeah,
in the fifth inning,
that's the guy who showed up.
there was a what'd you say?
Because he's the only guy that showed up.
Yeah.
He
The
was responsible for both runs
yeah.
of the Mets.
Fifth inning, passed ball. I'm not gonna get on Fried for it, just because one, it was a pass ball, not a wild pitch, and Wells, like you typically trust him with stuff like that. But at the same time, you kind of got to be a little more. I don't want to say conservative down in the zone with a runner on third in a one-run game, but you kind of got to know. This is so nitpicky. Fair, he has a 1.29 ERA on the year. I am not criticizing him for this.
The Mets made it go up. Let me be clear. The Mets made it go up.
Okay. How did that work out for you?
Mets made it go up.
Oh, nice. You made Max Fried have the third worst start of the year, and he still went 6 innings, 2 runs. Max Fried had the 2 worst. He had his second and third worst starts of the year this week. He let up 3 runs over 11 innings.
Washed.
But
anyways.
Yeah, anyways. That, and then you had the 6th inning, Jesus Christ, I'm going schizo. You had the 8th inning, Jesus fucking Christ, where it was bases loaded, the Anthony Volpe at bat in the 7th inning. Completely forgot to mention that. What are we doing? It was bases loaded, 2 outs. I literally said...
He did it twice.
Twice, yeah. Well, the first one was a ground ball, first pitch.
Yeah, after Peterson walked, 2 guys in a row?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why are you swinging first pitch?
That was bad. But he learned his lesson for the first couple of pitches.
For the first 3.
First 3 pitches in the 7th inning, I believe it was. Either 6th or 7th. I think it was 7th. But I don't know what... People get on Volpe, whatever, but you look at the underlying numbers, best of his career so far. You look at the actual numbers, best of his career so far. That's an inexcusable approach. You get up 3-0, then he takes fastball down the middle for a 3-1. Good. I like that.
That's what you're supposed to do.
That's what you're supposed to do. I said, if I'm Anthony Volpe, I am not swinging at a pitch until it's a full count, until there are 2 strikes. I don't know how you feel about that, but for me, if you're like a 7, 8, 9 hitter and it's a 3-1 count, the guy does not have control, I am making him prove that he can throw 2 strikes. I'm leaving the bat on my shoulders until there are 2 strikes. I don't know about you. Yeah. I know some people will push back on that, oh, it's a good hitter's count, stuff like that. Me, if a guy is showing he has no control, especially a reliever, because just the nature, sometimes they'll come out throwing just nothing, they'll just have no control at all. I am not swinging until there are 2 strikes.
No, that's completely fair, especially considering that between the last 3 hitters before Volpe, Brazoban threw
it was so
2 strikes.
It was uncompetitive.
2 strikes in the strike zone. Because he walked Grisham on 5 pitches. He walked Judge on 4. The Bellinger single, that should have been an out because he misplayed that. Bellinger saw 1 strike in the strike zone and then swung and missed or fouled off 1, and then the one he hit into play was way out of the strike zone. So he's up to the point of Brazoban facing Volpe, he has thrown 2 strikes in the zone.
I will give him defense on Judge because that was very clearly an unintentional walk. I'll give him that. But
he was giving him nothing close. But even with Bellinger, he was giving him nothing close. I don't know if it was by design to get to Volpe, because with the way he looked, I wouldn't be shocked.
I think Bellinger was also one for 2 with 2 walks at that point too, though.
Right.
And
I
he
don't
was
know.
like crushing it that entire series. So I
Right, which you would want to pitch around him.
yeah,
You know what I
but
mean?
what was
But yeah, it was just a horrible at bat from Volpe.
I
It was
will
a
say
gift.
he is so lucky he did not get hurt.
Who?
Brazaban
Oh my
on the
God.
Bellinger play, dude. Like
Yes.
in the initially watching, I was like, oh, that's a weird play. Like he's lucky he didn't get hurt. You watch the replay, dude. His shin and his ankle both twist in so like uncomfortable angles. Like he should he should donate his contract to the church to thank God. Like you never want to see a guy get hurt, and you can kind of like I don't want to say make jokes because that's not all I'm doing because he's healthy. That is maybe the worst non-injury play I've ever seen.
Yeah, 'cause he took out Pete with him. He
Yeah,
almost took out Bellinger,
it
so he
was
almost
almost
had
a
a
double
strike.
kill. It was almost a triple kill,
Right.
a suicide bomb. But
But yeah, that was such a weird play. I think he lost his balance, so he couldn't kind of shovel past
yeah,
it. So in the moment, he was like, "Fuck it, I need
that
to
too.
take it
You
to the
just gotta
bag."
throw the ball.
Yeah, but he got out of it somehow, some way. Thank you, Volpe.
Yeah, there wasn't a single. I think there was what one pitch in the zone that entire at bat.
Yes, which was the
the
3-0
the 3-0
pitch.
just like get me back in the count, whatever.
Yep.
But then going into the eighth inning, you had a bases loaded sac fly, or was it a hit or was a hit or was it a
It
sac
was a
fly?
hit. It was the Pete error.
Peter, yes. So you what was it 13th?
Same play. Sorry, before you start, the same play he made on Saturday.
Mm,
Carbon copy. I don't know if it was Dominguez. I forgot who was running on Saturday.
Dominguez, or I don't know Saturday, but I know on
Yeah, on
Sunday it was
Saturday, I
Dominguez.
forget who was running, but carbon copy of the play. Infield's in, bases loaded, balls hit straight to Pete. All he has to do is throw straight to the catcher. Completely air
Yeah,
mails it. Like not even fucking close.
yeah.
That was pretty embarrassing.
It also is a thing of Dominguez is one of the fastest guys in the league when it's just like a pure running to the base. When it's
Sure.
like third, especially when he has a lead too, that is a very fast guy. Because he's been
Mhm.
clocked at over 30, 31 feet per second at times, which is absurdly elite. I don't think he, I think the consistency is sometimes a little off with it, so I don't think his
Yeah.
savant score will say that. But when he wants to run, he is lightning fast. So I will give Pete that benefit of the doubt. The Jorbit Vivas at bat was, I want to give him a lot of credit because say what you want about the outcome itself and say like, oh, he shouldn't have been an RBI, whatever. That is a very impressive at bat because it was a 13 pitch at bat, first at bat of the day because he ended up coming in because Ben Rice pinch hit. He ended up replacing Ben Rice, just defensive, whatever, heebie jeebie. But first at bat of the day against a reliever that throws fucking gas, has not allowed a run to the Yankees in his career, and like 10 appearances for a reliever, which is a lot. So I want to give him a lot of credit because he was taking daddy hacks. Then when two strikes, he kind of shortened up the approach, stuff like that. And the one thing that I do like that they mentioned on ESPN from Eduardo Perez, maybe the one thing I liked him saying all weekend was that he was a contact guy in the minors, but they kind of let him take daddy hacks in the majors, which I don't like. The
Mhm.
guy was producing pretty well as a contact bat in the minors, and you're gonna
Yeah.
tell him to change his approach. And then you see him go back to what he was good with, and he had a 13 pitch at bat in a high leverage situation. I don't know. I really hope that that kind of is a wake up call for him because he will show good stuff, Vivas. But I think he has
Yeah.
a lot more value as that contact guy in the back of the order.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like you said, especially at the bottom of the order.
And
I'm not trying to take away anything from Vivas. It was also just a terrible approach from Stanek.
mm,
Horrible. He threw one splitter, and it was actually an 11 pitch at bat. But regardless, he threw one splitter in an 11 pitch at bat, and he just kept throwing fastball, 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 fastball,
it
fastball.
was only 11.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was
Vivas
like
is a
12, 13.
lefty. Throw a splitter down and away. The one splitter he threw, he fouled off, but it was a well placed splitter.
Mm.
That splitter is the only pitch Viva saw below either third quarter, like the third lowest,
Quadrant.
quadrant of the zone or lower. Everything else was high. I
Yeah.
just, I don't understand. I know you're going for the strikeout. I know there's a runner on third base. Bury a splitter in the dirt. I don't get what we were doing there. It's
Yeah.
just Stanek looked really bad this entire inning, and it's just very frustrating. Super frustrating because I understand you throw gas, but your splitter is also very good too. Same thing with Dominguez. He just threw fastball, fastball, fastball. Dominguez is hitting lefty off of you. Throw a splitter.
Yeah.
Throw. I don't get it.
I mean,
But
give Dominguez a little bit of credit just because well, you didn't see the righty at bats, but his lefty approach, he looks so confident as a lefty. But
sure. But when you see, 4 pitches not even close to the zone, non-competitive pitches, well, no wonder why he didn't. No
yeah,
wonder he had a good approach because he gave him nothing to hit.
yeah.
It's just very
But then,
frustrating. And really quick,
oh,
the home play on Saturday, Dominguez was the runner.
okay,
So it was both times Dominguez was the runner. On Saturday he got him. Sunday he airmailed it.
yeah. Um, I was just gonna say, then wrapping up that eighth inning, I believe it was Paul Goldschmidt. Yes, it was Paul Goldschmidt because I remember having to go into my notes because he had 20 hits and runners in scoring position to have to change it to 21. He ended up scoring another RBI single. Then Cody Bellinger broke it open with a grand slam, and you have to absolutely love what you're seeing from Cody Bellinger because I'll kind of get more into it later in the Bronx, but getting because are you good to go into stars? Because it's a good transition for me.
Yeah, no, go for it.
So going into it, he was 7 for 11 with 3 walks, 7 RBIs, 2 home runs, and a double. He had an extra base hit in every game. His approach since, because I talked about like Grisham opening up his stance. When he opened up his stance, he has been a lot better. He has been significantly better. So you absolutely love to see that from Cody Bellinger. And my other star of the game for the Yankees was, and this may be a little not as expected, but Devin Williams. I think that he looked phenomenal in the 2 innings that he pitched. It wasn't competitive from the Mets. Just to be blunt, it was not competitive for the Mets in those 2 at bats, and a lot of that is due to how well Devin Williams was pitching.
Yeah.
And out of his last 9 appearances, 8 of them have been scoreless. The one appearance he did have where he let up runs was the blown game, I believe, against the Padres. So say whatever you want, but if a reliever 8 out of his 9 last appearances he's going scoreless, that is a win. So I love what you're seeing from Devin Williams, and I do think it is funny that, and I'm sure you've seen this on Twitter. I'm not going to pretend like this is my original idea. That the 4 guys the Yankees got in replacement of Juan Soto, air quotes, were kind of like the stars of the series and had big impacts on the series.
Yeah, that's always how it works out.
So it's always how it works out. Obviously, you had the Max Fried. He had a pretty good start. You had obviously Paul Goldschmidt. He had 2 hits with runners in scoring position. Got to give him credit there. Put the ball in play. Got on, forced some defense with his surprisingly league average speed. But yeah, those are kind of my stars of the game. Obviously, I think you're gonna have 1 star and then a lot of duds.
Yeah, I'm just gonna shout out David Peterson. Without the Vientos error, he has a better start than Fried. Yeah. He went 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. He at least matched Max Fried.
Yeah.
When you can make the argument he outdueled him
if you take out that though, you also got to take out the pass ball though, for Fried. Because you can say error on someone else.
I guess. I don't know. I feel like pass balls, it's a little more pitcher and catcher. Like once the ball's hit into play, like you got nothing.
Fair.
You're controlling the pitch. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I just think if you take one away from one guy, you at least gotta mention it for the other.
I mean, sure, but was that still an earned run?
I saw some people saying no. Well, I didn't check after, but I saw Hoke said it was. Max Goodman said no. So I'm gonna
Currently, it is a earned run.
okay, but who fucking knows with scorekeepers in today's
Yeah,
economy?
but no, David Peterson looked good. He kept them in the game. He did everything he should have and could have, even going 6 innings when he maybe shouldn't have,
Mm.
arguably. But
Yeah, I was shocked he went in the sixth.
yeah, so did I. But he earned it. He was great. He was spectacular. Nothing more else to say. The other guy shout out is Griffin Canning. He looked good as well.
Yeah,
He didn't go 6 innings. I think we're starting to see that Griffin Canning might just be a 5 and dive guy, but 5 1/3, 7 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. And the
I'm
runs he gave up were 2 home runs.
I'm laughing because you say five and dive like it's the I don't want to say normal, but like that's like your go-to. I've never heard that before you started saying it. I've always heard five and
Really?
fly.
Oh, I just like 5 and dive because
Mm. Yeah.
it rhymes.
Well, five and fly is
Yeah,
it
yes,
rhymes.
it's better. I like mine better.
Yeah. Well,
But
I like mine better. Fuck Juan
you
Soto.
know what? I'll also do like a mini shout out to Brazoban because he bent and didn't break in Sunday. He also went an inning and 2/3 on Saturday. So shout out Brazoban. Everyone else, run
No,
polls.
no McNeil lives. No McNeil love.
RBI single and scored on a pass ball. Like, good job. I don't
Okay.
know. Thanks for showing up.
I don't
Should I
know.
start the duds?
Yeah.
Okay. What were you gonna say?
I don't. Well, it's gonna steal your thunder. I'll let you go.
Okay. Everybody. Everybody's a dud.
I think there are three
Lindor,
guys
1
in
for 12.
specific.
Juan Soto, 1 for 10. Pete Alonso, 2 for 12. Nimmo, 2 for 10. Vientos, 2 for 11. The top 5 of your lineup went 8 and 55 this series.
I don't know if it was true in like the eighth, ninth inning. I believe it is, but in the last game of the Subway Series, the top three guys didn't get on base. You'd
I
have
will
to
double
fact
check
check me on that for the because of the eighth, ninth inning. I don't believe they got on base.
The top 3 did not get on. Is that what
Top
you
three,
said?
yeah, top three.
Yeah, top 3 did not get on base. You're right.
If I said top four, I meant top three.
Yeah. Lindor 0 for 4. Soto 0 for 4. Alonso 0.
Yeah, that was the difference,
That's it. That's
and
the entire series right there.
that's part of the reason why I like the stuff. Not some of the stuff they did to Soto because it got in his head.
I don't think so.
His body language. There were so many pitches he was like looking at that just like because you didn't see it, but in the first inning there was like 2 or 3 pitches that he just had so non-Soto like reactions to. Like it looked like he was just like timid.
That's how he's been. That's also, I guess, a part of the issue. That's just how he's been.
I also haven't seen the at bats outside of the series.
Right.
I've seen like a couple highlights, whatever, a couple at bats, whatever. But
yeah, that's kind of the issue. I mean, I really thought, and I think everyone did, that this was going to be like the Soto breakout series in a way.
I
But
would have put so
if
much
any,
money on it being.
if anything, he looked worse. So you
Yeah.
know what? To your point, maybe it did. Maybe it
Yeah.
did get in his head a little.
I think I think there's definitely something there because he also.
I have a hard time believing you could play in the World Series at 19, but going back to a place where you were for a year and getting heckled is the line.
Mm.
Like, I just have a hard time believing that's the difference.
Well, I think it's more compounding. You know what I mean?
It's
I
the
think there
World
was something.
Series.
I'm not saying that he like just like was lost. Like I think it's a compounding effect of how the year's kind of gone for him. Where it's like he's
Mhm.
had an okay year for any other player, but
He's had a career best year for some players.
yeah.
He has a 130 WRC plus.
Well, that's also
That's all-star level.
yeah. Also, like
But
the last like
obviously
week or
Soto.
two, kind of like picked it up, but
Mhm.
I think it's kind of a compounding effect. And I think part of it too is he's just I'm sure you're gonna get into it, but and like you talk like Matt's runner scoring position, I think he's the main guy that like you kind of have to look at and be like, what are we doing? Do you know what his WRC plus is with runners in scoring position?
Is it negative? Because I was
25.
looking at it the other day. Yeah, I think it's negative in May. Might have been,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Bases empty 188, men on base 67, men in scoring 25.
Yeah.
That's inexcusable. That is, especially for a
Agree.
guy that you look at. I'm gonna look at his career now. Give me a second for that. Who? Let me get to it. 154 career with men scoring. He is a guy that has been elite with runners in scoring position his entire career. He is a next to nothing. He is a nothing when it comes.
He's a liability.
He's a liability now, and you can't have that for your 2-hole hitter. So,
I mean, to be fair, it's the entire team.
yeah.
Brandon Nimmo, 93. Francisco Lindor, 75. Mark Vientos, 65. Like you said, Juan Soto, 25. The only guy with an above average. You know what? Let me put down the
While you do that,
plate
fun fact
appearance.
on Brandon Nimmo, I think he was like 7th on the leaderboard since 2019 in high leverage.
Mhm.
Like
He's
six,
been really good.
6, 7,
Him
8
being
somewhere.
him being bad is
Outlier.
confusing. Yes, it's the outlier. All right, if we take down the plate
Exception, not
appearance,
the rule.
what's it called? Threshold. The Mets have 5 players with an above average WRC plus with runners in scoring position. That's Pete Alonso, who has taken a step back in the last week or so. Luis Torrens, who plays sparingly. Jeff McNeil, who at this rate also plays sparingly. Francisco Alvarez, which is a surprise. And then Starling Marte is perfectly average, which is also a surprise.
Yeah.
Everyone else, I don't want to rag on Tyrone, but 94, Nimmo 93, Beatty 88, Winker, who's now hurt, 88.
I feel like a 94 from Taylor is fine though.
Yeah, you know what?
That's
I
whatever.
agree. He's like your 4th outfielder.
Like
but
him and Siri, I feel like it's a thing of like defensive center fielders. Like, I don't want to say you don't care, but it's kind of like if he's league average, then you're happy.
Right, and the fact that he's slightly below league average, I think you're ecstatic.
It's almost like Anthony Volpe, where you don't need him to be like you. If he's not hitting and he's like the highlight, that's if he's the only guy not hitting, you're okay with that. That's kind of like it's more on roster construction that if they're not scoring, it's not because of Tyrone Taylor. It's not because of Anthony Volpe. It's because of Aaron Judge. Jesus Christ, Juan Soto having 25 WRC plus on the year with runner scoring position.
Yeah. No, it's been an issue, and it's it's the second to last week in May, and it's still an issue. It's a big issue. I didn't have much on the Pirates series, but yes, they won the series, but it was bad baseball.
Yeah.
They had 2 one-run wins, and they struggled with runners in scoring position. That's been the story for the entire year. And again, it has not gotten better. If anything, it feels like it's gotten worse. But look, the numbers you just need to look at, the top 5 in plate appearances with runners scoring position on the Mets: Brandon Nimmo, Pete Alonso, Mark Vientos, Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto. One guy is above average, again, which is Pete Alonso.
Something just to mention, because I was curious on that. So Juan Soto, 188 with no one on base, 25 with runners in scoring position. That is a 163 difference in WRC plus. Alex Bregman who is confidently in the MVP, or he's confidently in the MVP runner-up discussion.
Yeah.
who probably is right now. That is his WRC plus. The difference between Juan Soto with outrunners on and men in scoring position is the second best MVP candidate in the American League, and in all of baseball, he is 9th in WAR. And you look at it, he's 3rd in the American League in WAR, and that's only because you have Bobby Witt and Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
That's the difference between no one on it.
It's frustrating. I mean, I will also give credit because I can't just say the Mets suck of runners scoring position. give credit where credit's due. The Yankees pitching was phenomenal the entire
Yeah.
series. I don't think there was one pitcher that came in where it's like, all right, like there's points where you should have scored, but wasn't necessarily because they were pitching bad.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like Rodon obviously didn't have his ace stuff, was really good. Schmidt didn't really look good, like at all, honestly. Only gave up what, 2 runs, I think it was. Then
It was
Fried,
really
obviously,
one inning. It was
fantastic.
really one inning where Schmidt didn't look good.
Right, right. And again, even exemplifies the point. He didn't look good for 1 inning, and he still,
And those were the runs he gave up
kept
in
you
that
down.
inning when he didn't look good.
Right.
So to the Mets' credit, when they had a chance, they took it and scored 2 runs.
Yeah. But and then the Yankees bullpen was phenomenal. Devin Williams looked fantastic. Fernando Cruz is disgusting. Tim Hill is funky. Like, it's a very
Luke
good
Weaver for his 1
team.
out.
Yes, Luke Weaver for his 1 pitch or what felt like 1 pitch.
Yeah.
So credit where credit's due, but this team is just so frustrating to watch with this competition because it's just like something just switches in their head and they just completely just.
And another thing too that like I want to give a lot of credit to the Yankees pitching staff. The top 3 of that Mets order are known Yankee killers. Lindor, I want to shoot myself when he's at the plate because I do not want to watch that at bat because of how good he is against the Mets or against the Yankees. Pete Alonso kills the Yankees. Juan Soto kills the Yankees. So I do think that is a lot of. The guys did look different. Like, they didn't look as confident. Lindor wasn't as bad as especially Pete and Juan Soto. And Pete's been in no one's really talking about it, but the last kind of like week and a half for Pete Alonso has not been good.
The last week and a half for
I think it's like
that
6
entire.
for his last like 35, something like that.
Since you're talking about it, I'll just bring it up. But no, you're right. The past week has not been good for the top half of the order. Forget about just Pete. Like, Lindor's been in a slump. Soto has been in a slump. Juan Soto is hitting under 200 in the last week. Francisco Lindor under 200. Pete Alonso under 200. Soto still somehow has a 111 WRC plus, but that's
The
probably
walks
because of
and
his
power.
435 on base. But Francisco Lindor 25 WRC plus. Pete Alonso 16. Like, I think I'm not. This is gonna come out like an excuse, but it's not. I find it funny how last year the Mets played the Yankees in probably their worst part of the season, and the Yankees have now played the Mets in their worst part of the season. Like, going into the series, I feel like both teams on both years were not playing their best baseball.
Yankees I may push back on.
Yeah, Jemiah Jones hitting leadoff.
Oh, I was talking about this year.
Clean up.
I was talking about this year.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying the Yankees were playing bad this year. I'm saying last year.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Going
100%. Yeah.
Going into the Subway Series
No,
last year,
he
the
wasn't
Yankees were
clean
not
up.
playing well.
He was not clean up. He was leadoff. JD
JD
Davis was clean up. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, if you're gonna shit on my team,
Right.
at least be right.
But in 2024, the Mets played the Yankees in possibly the worst part of their season, and as of right now, the Yankees played the Mets in their worst part of the season. Again, not an excuse. I just find it funny.
I think one series, I forget which one, Juan Soto was like the 2 games of the year he missed. Then the other series was like the 3 games Aaron Judge missed in a year.
Right. So it's just it's pretty funny, but yeah, the Yankees caught the Mets at the right time is really what I'm trying.
Yeah.
And Game 3, and honestly, this is gonna sound like an excuse. Yes, the Yankees beat the Mets, but I think the Mets beat themselves more than the Yankees beat the Mets. You walk 4 guys in an inning. You give a very good team too many opportunities. There's some unlucky hits in there. Because you walk those 4 guys, shit ton of runs scored. Game 3, the errors. Pete Alonso completely airmailing the ball. Like, it was a tied game at that point. That was the go-ahead run. You cut him down, you maybe get out of that inning, maybe just allow 1 run. I just feel like the Mets played their worst baseball, beat themselves a lot more, and the Yankees took the opportunity.
I will say at the same time, the Yankees also were shooting themselves in the foot a lot. At least in like game 2 and 3, up until that 8th inning.
Game 2 was a weird game, just
Yeah.
overall. I will
105
agree with that.
start, and the shadows get weird as hell with Yankee
But the shadows were
Stadium.
like on and off all day.
Yeah.
But again, I just like maybe the way I'm putting it is not really
I know
the
what you're
best. I feel
saying,
like the
but
Mets are just handed the Yankees the games. It feels like
eh,
because you walked so many guys,
not
you
game one though.
uncompetitive.
Game one though, that was I would push back on game one for sure.
Game 1 was probably the worst because
Yeah.
Tyler McGill walks 5 in under 3 innings.
A lot of
You
that,
handing them opportunities.
a lot, because you're saying like the walking, all that. That is the Yankee strong suit. That's always been the Yankee strong suit. How many times on this
The
podcast
issue is it's uncompetitive.
fair,
It's
but
not good at bats. It's a good at bat because they're not swinging at Tyler McGill missing his spot every time. But Tyler McGill didn't know where the ball was going. It's uncompetitive on his point. And the Yankees are just standing there and taking their walks, which again, they should be doing.
it also was just weakness for strength.
Sure.
Because that is what the Yankees. How many times have I come on the podcast and said that, like, how and talk about how much I love that the Yankees are working at bats? How all they
Mhm.
do is work at bats, get pitch counts up. That is the Yankees' MO. It's been MO for the last, I don't even know how many years before I was even really a fan into it. So that is their MO in the same breath.
Sure.
But
I get it. Again, I think that you gave a very good team too many opportunities.
statistically, the best offense in baseball.
Right. Way too many opportunities.
That's fair. I'll give you that.
That I guess is at the end of the day the point I'm getting at.
Yeah. But did you have anything else on the Mets?
No, it's been the same issues.
Mm.
Runners in scoring position. Pitching has been fine.
No.
You know, I think really quick, I think the bullpen is just kind of hitting that part of the season where they're a little tired, and I think they're also really missing AJ Minter because you got guys like Henderson Cabrera on the team, probably shouldn't be in the major leagues, and you also got Jose Castillo who has an 11 ERA on the year.
Mm.
You traded for him for cash, so I think the bullpen has just become extremely thin, and I think you're seeing it. But again, it wouldn't matter if you could hit with runners in scoring position, which
Yeah.
again we thought this team would be able to do. We thought this team, their strength was going to be offense, and
It's
so
flipped.
far it hasn't. Right,
Yeah.
it's flipped. Currently, the Mets are somehow the 7th best team in terms of weighted runs created plus.
I think that's just a bunch of home runs, a bunch of not really.
They have scored,
I was gonna say it feels a
still
lot.
surprisingly, the 12th most runs in baseball.
I think a lot of it has to do with just not hitting runners in scoring position.
Oh,
I think that's all. All it
that's
is.
the issue.
That's this.
That is
That's why it doesn't
100%.
feel as high as it is.
Yeah, 100%. That's it. That's the entire story right there. But it's more of the same, so I don't want to, keep
Reiterate
talking
the
in
same
circles.
points. Yeah.
But
I'm not gonna.
frustrating series.
I'm not gonna do a transition because I have some stuff
Just
to
go
talk
into it.
about, but I'll just run it
Just to
through.
get into it. Whatever.
Of course, in a Triboro Podcast episode, we have to have your injury update brought to you by Triboro MD because we have a little bit of a CVS receipt. I gotta give the biggest Viking funeral to Oswaldo Cabrera.
Oh my god! I forgot that was this week.
Yeah.
Holy crap! Yeah.
That fucking sucked.
Yeah.
It was a 5-run game in the 9th inning in Seattle. He was on third base. Aaron Judge hits a sac fly. He overshoots home plate. He twists his ankle, lands on it awkwardly in a bad thing. His ankle is literally 45 or 90 degrees in direction it shouldn't be. He is crawling to get to home plate to touch it to make sure he does it. That is, if that doesn't show you the type of guy Waldo Cabrera is, I don't know what will. I don't know if you heard some of these stories. When he was on the ground, when everyone came up to him, when Judge came up to him, the first thing he asked Judge was, "Did I score?" Judge said yes, and he started smiling and laughing.
That's like something straight from a movie. It's like, did we get him?
Yeah, like that literally, and he
Like
even
Saving Private Ryan.
seriously what's it called? The trainer was hugging Oswaldo, like making like you're good, you're good. Trent Grisham said after the game like he was the best of us. Um, they didn't get into specifics with how long, but Judge and Volpe were in the hospital apparently like all night with him.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it kind of just shows how much. And even then, game two they came out flat in that game against Seattle. I don't know the exact. I don't. I think. Oh yeah, that was a 2-1 loss, the extra innings loss. But they just look so flat in that second game. I think a lot of it has to do with losing Oswaldo Cabrera, because you could say whatever you want, a little bit below league average hitter, what a utility guy, on the field not that big of a loss, whatever. He is. He. I would make an argument that outside of Aaron Judge, he is the best teammate on this team because of just everyone the media. When every single media member talks about how much they love a guy, that's how you know that they're a good guy. And
Yeah.
always smiling. Michael Kay said he's one of those people that when he asks how are you, it is because he legitimately wants to know how you are. And if you are not okay, he will sit you down and find out why you're not okay to try and make you okay. So it just sucks. Like one of the most beloved guys really across baseball when you like really think about it.
Yeah, he has such a good personality. It's like seeing a lot of like the off field kind of social media stuff the Yankees do. He always has like a good bit
Yeah.
whenever
I've
for
never
whatever
seen
they
him
do.
not smile.
Yeah, he
Like
just seems such a good guy, good personality. It sucks to see him get hurt the way he did because that looked
oh
excruciating.
my god, yeah. He has
Yeah,
just to cuz I didn't mention it, he fractured his ankle. There is ligament damage. They didn't say he's out for the year, but Boone said it's pretty unlikely he's going to be back. And frankly, if it's like a thing where like they may have to rush him back, just let him miss the year. For
yeah,
his own because this is a type of injury that that could be career ending. Don't let it be career ending. Give him the year off. Let him have the off season. Let him rehab, all that. I don't care if he's ahead of schedule. Give him the year off. Yeah, I
yeah.
don't know if you feel any different, but
Yeah, I think it just depends on the timeline. I think we've gotten next to nothing, feels like, on it. But I mean, if it's fractured, that's at least call it 6, 8 weeks. If there's ligament damage, maybe 10 weeks. So I think we kind of need more of a timeline before we put on it. But I agree to an extent that yeah, if he's gonna come back in September,
I mean, also
maybe
Aaron Boone saying it's pretty unlikely he's going to be back is telling because the Yankees are typically more positive on injuries.
yeah,
So
yeah, that's fair. I didn't think about that part, but yeah, it sucks.
yeah, that
Especially, I don't want to turn this into a not Oswaldo Cabrera
yeah,
talk because wish him all the best, wish him best recovery. The Yankees have not supplemented this roster with enough depth at the infield position
yeah.
that losing him not only sucks for the person, but if Dorbit Vivas and or Peraza don't show something, this team has multiple needs until Jazz comes back.
Peraza is just he's been nothing burger, but like it always is. I don't want to say funny. I think like irony is the better word. How the baseball gods are with injury. That DJ
Yeah,
LeMahieu's coming back, so Oswaldo Cabrera gets hurt.
right.
Literally the very next day, DJ LeMahieu got activated. So and that was always the
DJ
plan
helps.
for him to be activated that Tuesday.
Right.
So
Having DJ at least helps, but again, it's just you don't know what you're gonna get from him.
yeah,
If he looks the way he did in the Subway Series, you'll be fine.
and in Seattle. So
Right. And he also played. No, I don't think we told it, but he played really good
very
defense
good
as well.
defense. Yes, that shocked me.
So
I did
yeah,
not think
props
he
to
had the
him.
range anymore to play second.
Neither did I. So props to him for that. But he might be at least a league average bat until the trade deadline, or
Yeah.
at least until Jazz comes back, and you can kind of have more of a conversation there.
And just to quickly touch on DJ, the reason I texted you like, oh, he just looks so weird, like he doesn't look like he belongs
Yeah.
there. I found out why. It's because he doesn't have the high socks anymore. That's why he looks so weird to
Oh,
me. That's what it
oh,
because he just
okay.
looks so. It's almost like Aaron Judge. You look at Aaron Judge's rookie or his 2016 when he didn't have high socks. He just did not look like a major league player because he had like the baggy pants, stuff like that. But then
Yeah.
like when he put the high socks on, he looked completely
Oh,
different.
that's a ball player.
Yeah. So I really think that's what it is. It's just that he doesn't have the high socks.
Yeah.
But
That's fair.
no, just touching on everyone else, but Oswaldo
Pause.
Cabrera, get better. They even said like he's literally watching every single game with his dad on the couch.
I'm sure he is.
So I'm sure
What a
he's
guy.
reacting more than we are, or like to games. But then
Don't jump on the ankle.
yeah. Getting into the other guys, JT Brubaker started a rehab assignment on the 18th, so that was yesterday, depending on when you're watching it. Jake Cousins shut down for 4 or 5 days with pec discomfort. This sounds more like a
Booby
precautionary
discomfort.
thing. Yeah, booby sore. Sounds like a lot more like a precautionary thing than anything else.
Yeah.
So just kind of shut him down. Be careful.
And again, I don't think in terms of bullpen, you don't really need anyone.
Yeah, let him
way it's
any
performing.
minor thing, get it rested. I think I need to listen to that advice myself. Bless you.
Thank you. I agree.
Your favorite player of all time, Marcus Stroman, has had more cortisone shots in his knee and has not started throwing yet.
Guys, I think Marcus Stroman's hurt.
You'll take your L. You'll take your L on that take.
Yeah. I think he's hurt.
I think he really may be. Unless they're saying we'll pay you
Maybe
18...
he wasn't, and when he got on the IL, he then got hurt.
Stop trying to save it. You're cooked. You're cooked.
Yeah.
There's no structural damage. It's just a lot of inflammation. But
just ice it.
Seriously. But Stanton, it seems
Grab
like
a-
no one knows. It's so funny. But he's continued to hit and run. So I got this based off MLB.com, like a lot of the injury updates, because for anyone that doesn't know, MLB.com, if you go to like their injury updates, whatever, for specific team, they'll take the most recent support and kind of put it in like an article and like date it and say when it was. So it's a very good thing. I would recommend it anyone if they want to check that out. But they also will put like potential return dates or like expected returns. Everyone, it was like, okay, we expect like this time. We expect this. Giancarlo Stanton, potentially, it literally said potentially. It was the only one that said potentially. Late May, early June.
See you in August.
I have no idea when to expect him back. He doesn't have to field. So that's like a big thing. In prior years, he hasn't done rehab games.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's been hitting off the tragic pitching machine. And we've talked a lot about that, just where like can emulate any pitcher. And
your baby.
The baby. Yeah, I love that thing. But so he's not really going to once he's like physically cleared, he may have like 2 or 3 days and then he'll be activated. He may even be activated the day he's physically cleared. I would not be shocked if he is. So yeah. And again, well, Ben Rice.
He just makes things complicated.
Ben Rice get a third base glove. Like that's like right now you may want Ben Rice to get a third base glove without
all jokes
Stanton.
aside. Why not?
Why not at least see?
Kristen Campbell is taking reps at first base. If he could play first base.
I know that's also Rafael Devers' fucking fault, but
yeah, he's a fucking baby. But
at least we could agree on something today.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said that because they're playing the Red Sox next. But oh well.
Tubby. But no, that's what was I even gonna say? A lot of people are like acting like Ben Rice can't catch. By the way, where do we get that from?
Yeah.
He got drafted as a catcher. He came up as a catcher. He just started playing first base last year. I don't know where this narrative about him not being able to play catcher came from.
The catcher by trade.
Whatever. The other one, Luis Gil, they're targeting a return to the actual like pitching mound in 1 to 2 weeks. Because he started like the throwing program already where it's like the 90 feet, 120
long
feet.
Toss,
Long toss, whatever. But they're targeting that, you would think, what, like another month?
Yeah.
After that?
Probably.
After like the 1 to 2 weeks?
All-Star break.
Which, Oh my god. Oh my god. Brian Cashman has in his holster the trade deadline acquisition. Jesus Christ.
It's like getting back trade line. Fuck. I messed up the line.
It's like
Phew.
it's like trading for Luis
Trade
Gil.
deadline acquisition.
Whatever. But
Fuck me.
very quickly summarizing that Mariner series, the pitchers that weren't as good have pitched a lot better. Clark Schmidt, 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. He really only had 1 bad inning again, but the 2 walks kind of is like the big thing that like kind of impressed me. Because we talked a lot about that with the control, whatever. He was throwing, he was pitching so well. Then game 2, you had Fried versus Wu, lost that game. Wu, it's Brian, right?
Yeah.
Brian Wu, I've talked about for years. He may be the most disgusting, most underrated pitcher in baseball. He is so filthy. He is in every start this year. He's gone at least 6 innings.
Has he really?
Yeah.
Damn.
So
fucking.
He
He's
is
so good.
disgusting. Max Fried only went 5 innings, 1 run, but that's his second worst start of the year. But it's still like Carlos Carrasco's best. So.
Well.
The only reason I want to like highlight this game is because this game went to extra innings. I don't understand how this Yankees offense is the best in baseball. How it will just pop off randomly, but you give them a free runner in scoring position and they cannot hit.
I don't want it.
It doesn't make sense. They almost are like protesting the rule. Since the extra innings ghost runner has been a thing, they have like a 333 winning percentage on the road in extra innings.
They're the White Sox.
It's horrible, but that was bad.
Impressive.
The game 3 game is kind of like, because I talked a lot about how like the Yankees can't really win close games, and I'll even say like that game 3 against the Mets, that's not gonna go down in like the stat of like 1-2 run games.
Right.
It really should. Like that, you say what you want about how the Mets played, whatever. That was not a 6-run game. That was a 1, maybe 2-run game.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, game 3, Will Warren, Luis Castillo. Will Warren, absolutely disgusting. He went 5 innings. It's another thing where I saw some people say earned runs, some people say unearned runs because there was an error, there was a this, whatever.
I'll tell you what MLB says.
Yeah, either 5 innings, 2 runs, earned or unearned, whatever. 9 strikeouts. Looked absolutely disgusting. Will Warren's really started to kind of figure it out, and it could not come at a better what?
Not like yes, good.
Oh,
I like Warren,
but the reason why is 7th inning, they're down a run. Paul Goldschmidt pinch hit first pitch, home run to make it 2-2. 8th inning, Aaron Judge home run to take the lead. This was kind of like one of those games where you felt, okay, getaway day. The offense has been kind of quiet. They really weren't doing anything yesterday because of Oswaldo Cabrera. Kind of seems like they're airmailing it. Paul Goldschmidt said, no. Aaron Judge said, no. But good series in Seattle. Go on.
Will Warren is charged with 2 earned runs.
Okay. It's so weird how like some people say, oh, earned. Some people say, oh, unearned. And I was too lazy to double check, so.
And it'll change like tomorrow.
Poor Max Fried. But that's it for the Seattle series. I want to give the Yankees credit because no one's talking about it. They won back-to-back-to-back series against the Padres, Mariners, and Mets.
Mets don't count.
I'm okay. I'm coughing at your bullshit. But I mentioned I would talk about DJ LeMahieu, or not DJ LeMahieu, Cody Bellinger. He has a 13-game hit streak. He changed his stance. What?
You're talking about Cody Bellinger.
Oh. He, in that span, like, kind of like a couple games into that, he changed his stance, but narratives in bigger sample size, so I'm going to go with that. In that 13 games, 60 plate appearances, so a relatively decent sample size. He has 4 home runs, 4 doubles. He has a 221 WRC+. He has a 377 average, 450 on base, 679 slugging. He is hitting very well. He has played himself into getting everyday reps. Yep. Yep. And part of that is because he changed his stance, first off. I think he has like 2 balls he's hit the other way. Everything has been pulled. We talk about it.
Say no to opposite field.
We've talked about this so much. You don't have to hit a ball particularly hard when you pull it for it to have an impact. Say what you want about the Pete Alonso play, whatever. It was only hit like 77 miles an hour. A pulled ball is going to seem a lot faster than a non-pulled ball, and you're going to do more damage on a pulled ball than not.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's obviously just been hitting a lot better. Been hitting righties better as well, which kind of like good. Because that's like the big bugaboo about him this year, that he just was not good against righties, but he was doing very well against lefties. So, just makes the situation a lot more complicated. So,
why wouldn't it be?
Whatever. Want to give him a lot more credit for that than DJ LeMahieu. The only reason why I'm starting to buy into him is, so he's hitting 375 and whatever, like a 4-game sample size. Who cares? His exit velocities: 100.3, 50.8, 99.3, 98.4, 106.6, 98.6, 80, 91.8. He only has 2 non-hard hit balls, and even one of them was 80. So say what you want about that. At least it was like
solid contact.
Solid contact. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it because it's such a small sample size. But he never hit. When he was struggling the last couple of years, he wasn't making this consistent of hard contact.
Yeah.
That really is the thing that I'm taking away from it. Again, got to see him against like the next couple of weeks. So I want to touch on that. But the pitching itself, the starting pitching, been phenomenal. They have a 2.89 ERA over their last 168 innings pitched, which was their last 31 games. And in 26 of those 31 starts, 3 or fewer runs allowed. So,
good.
And I think this has a very direct correlation with Marcus Stroman going on the IL and Carlos Carrasco getting sent down. Or getting DFA, then recalled to AAA. Yeah. So, very, very impressed with what... It also has a correlation with Will Warren and Clark Schmidt pitching a lot better as of late. Well, Clark Schmidt just in general coming back. Very excited about that. And I wanted to quickly touch on the look ahead because they have a off day today. Yeah, you did forget about that. I only want to do a look ahead because the Yankees have a very tough series against the Rangers coming up. Rangers are only 2 games above 500. Say what you want. The offense has been like very inconsistent. You have a gauntlet of pitchers that you're facing. You have Patrick Corbin versus Will Warren. And that's the easiest matchup. You have Jacob deGrom versus Ryan Yarbrough, since Jacob deGrom has taken 2-3 miles an hour off, maybe a little bit less.
Yeah, he's sitting more 96.
Yeah, since he's sitting 95, 96, he has been a lot better. His control has been there. He looks a lot healthier. He always absolutely shits on the Yankees, but then again, he shit on everyone at that time.
Yeah.
Then known Yankee killer who the Yankees gave away for free, Nathan Eovaldi versus Carlos Rodon. Nathan Eovaldi's been even better than Jacob deGrom this year. So that's going to be a tough series. It's at home. They usually win against the Rangers at home. Find a way to win 2 out of 3. This is going to come down a lot more to the pitching than the hitting because the hitters will either hit or they won't. But
while Justin's dying, I will say that Rangers are a good team. I don't think their record... I mean, you are what your record shows, but I think they're a better team. Yeah, they are a better team than what they played.
It's just the offense underperforming. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, Jock Peterson's been horrible. I think he's been better as of late, but...
He was on Chris Davis watch for a while.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, he was one of the
now Aaron Boone's brother is their hitting coach.
Yeah.
Podcasting. Dude, Aaron Boone was a ESPN broadcaster for the Little League World Series, then became the manager of the Yankees. Brett Boone was a podcaster, then became the hitting coach of the Rangers. What does the Boone family have on MLB?
Yes.
But anyways, then I'm not even going to go into the next series. They have a 3-game series in Colorado. Sweep it. End of discussion. They're 8-38.
In Colorado.
In Colorado. Aaron Judge may hit a ball 700 feet.
Do it. That'd be fun to see.
So you're also gonna have Max Fried for this. You're you're gonna have Schmidt and who's the other pitcher?
Yarborough?
Warren.
Warren.
Oh God, Will Warren in Colorado. Warren, please, for the love of God. Oh, that too. Even then, in like the Mariners start, I forgot to mention it. Will Warren didn't really have a sweeper. His primary pitch he didn't really have, and he went 5 innings, 9 strikeouts. So
He might be good, folks.
might be
Give him
good.
time.
But that's all I had.
Yeah. I will quickly look ahead for the Mets because I forgot about that. But
Even after all
kind
the
of
Mets
mentioned it
fans have turned
before.
off.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, but they start a series in Boston tonight against Hunter Dobbins. They will face Walker Buehler on Tuesday, and of course, they get to face Garrett Crochet on Wednesday. So you got Kodai Senga, Clay Holmes, and Tyler McGill going for the Mets.
What time is
So
that? 7
Tyler McGill
o'clock
will
start?
not be facing the Dodgers. Which one?
The Red Sox game tonight?
I think the Red Sox do like 6:35.
Whatever. It's going to be a fun group
like
chat,
that?
the Knicks fighting, but
Yeah. And then you got the Dodgers coming into town on the weekend. They're pitching, to no one's surprise, is already gutted. Blake Snell is out. Tyler Glasnow is out. So you will face Clayton Kershaw in his second start back from the IL. His first start back was not good. I think he gave 5 runs in 5 innings against the Angels. Griffin Canning will pitch for the Mets then. Then you'll face Tony Gonsolin, who I think has been solid since returning from injury. David Peterson will pitch against him. Yeah, Tony Gonsolin in four games of 4.05 ERA, so solid. And then Landon Knack, I think, just joined rotation.
The reason I said oof is because, yeah, you're facing Crochet. You're so lucky you're not facing Yamamoto. That is huge.
That is a good point.
That is huge. Like, yeah, I would much rather face Crochet than Yamamoto. I don't know about you, but especially with it being...
It's going to sound weird. I probably would rather face Yamamoto just because I trust the lineup better against righties and lefties.
Counterpoint.
Because that means Starling Marte is fucking hitting 6th at DH against Garrett Crochet. I'm going to murder somebody.
Would you rather face Garrett Crochet with the Red Sox offense, or would you rather face Yamamoto with the Dodgers offense?
That is also another excellent point.
I think the worst part about this series for the Mets, I don't know if you know this, all 3 games are national broadcasts.
Oh my God, don't get me started.
I don't know about Friday. I think Friday's Apple.
Friday's Apple TV.
And then it's Fox and then ESPN.
Fox and ESPN.
The Ohtani glaze is going to be off the charts.
Thankfully, I am planning on going to the game Sunday, so I don't need to listen to the ESPN game.
And thankfully on Friday and Saturday, you're planning on watching them muted. Planning on syncing it up with the radio.
I'm planning on using a totally not illegal streaming site because I don't have Apple TV, but I do have Apple TV.
You're planning to kidnap Gary Cohen and Ron Darling to make them broadcast in your room.
Sit in my
room and call the game from my TV.
Living room. Yes, just talk, but yeah, the schedule doesn't get easier for the Mets, and they gotta pick it up. They played 5, which, look, at the end of the day, last year at this point, this is when things were really going bad. So a little perspective is nice. They are currently tied for the best record in the National League. They're in first place, which doesn't really matter in May. Whatever.
It's nice to see.
Yeah, exactly. They started off hot. They've played 500 for basically the last 2 weeks. Just pick it up. Get some hits. If we're in a scoring position, the pitching has been fine. Just pick it up. That's all I had.
Yeah.
That's all I had. If you had anything else. To find me.
How close are you to Starling Marte to Jupiter?
Memorial Day.
Okay.
I give him another week. I give him a week. I will say he's had like a 375 on base in his last 7 games, but he doesn't offer much to this team.
And he doesn't offer much on the bases either. Like, sure, like if he has 375 on base and he's like stealing a base every other time he gets on, sure, that's good. That's valuable. But no defense, no speed, not really hitting.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I love the guy. I think he's been a good Met. I think the contract, looking back on it, is going to age a little poorly, given how
I
the
was
last
so
3
mad the Mets got him
years,
too.
how the
I was
last
so
3
mad
years
the
have
Yankees
gone.
didn't get him with a glaring need in center field. Now I'm
Center field.
what?
Imagine.
Oh yeah. Well,
Imagine signing
that's what he
Marte to
got
play
signed
center field.
as. Cause
He got
like
signed as, well, he played right field for the Mets.
he was on the market. Everyone was
I
talking
get
about how
it.
he
Yeah,
could have
fair
played
enough.
center. That's
Fair enough. Fair enough.
because he was a center fielder before. That's
Yes, you're right. But I think his time's just up, unfortunately. Like, the at-bats don't look very competitive.
if you would have told me 2 years ago, we are talking about how Starling Marte should get taken out back before DJ LeMahieu, I would have called you an idiot.
Yeah. Well, here we are. But this
No Sox
is the
DJ.
issue. Is the issue with signing older speed guys. Once their speed is gone, they're cooked. That's why the Trey Turner contract is going to look horrible. But
Because it's also a thing of you look at another thing too is he's had his fair share of injuries, especially lower body core
and
injuries.
surgeries.
And surgeries, yes. I've always said with speed guys, if you're 99%, you're useless.
Right.
Like health, like you have to be 100% the entire time, or else you don't really have that much value.
Yeah. It sucks. It honestly does, because Marte is like a good vibes, good
Great guy,
character
phenomenal guy. We are not saying anything about.
Yeah. And again, I was high on him. I didn't count him out in the offseason, but I probably should have.
Yeah.
So again, I give him a week, 2 weeks.
In spring training,
again,
you were like, "Oh, I think that
he might be back. The platoon's gonna be great." And now Jesse Winker's out to July, and Marte's on DFA watch.
And the guy that
I'll go
should be
fuck
your
myself.
DH is losing you games in the field.
Is nearly matching his entire outs above average from last year in the first 2 months of the year.
For some guys, that's insane.
Good.
For other guys, it's insane in the other way.
Yes. So, whatever. I think from an organizational standpoint, it's malpractice to keep forget the name. It's malpractice to keep someone like this on the roster who provides you next to nothing.
My only counterpoint would be a locker room guy.
I know. That's the biggest thing.
I get not starting him. I'd agree with that. Like, if you want to pinch hit him every once in a while, just so he's on the team, whatever. I think, like you said, Memorial Day, I think it's a week or two before you could justify DFAing him. Well, you could justify DFAing him, but, like, a week or two before you should DFA him.
Yeah. Yeah. And, again, Juan mentioned him by name multiple times.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, that definitely will play a factor, and I will understand it, but frustrating.
Yeah.
But that's really all I had. I don't want to go on too long. We've been recording for like an hour and a half.
I'm at hour 48 on my
Yeah, this is almost a 2-hour thing. So
I mean, it's episode 100 Subway Series. Gotta go big.
Fair enough. But you got anything else? Subway Series, Yankees, Mets, baseball.
What is your opinion on the current global political climate?
This is not a political podcast. We'll leave it at that. But if that's all you had,
well, we're not talking.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening.
I think the Subway Series is more decisive than thought.
I would tend to disagree.
So would I.
Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. 100 episodes, pretty cool. We've had fun doing this, and we continue to do so. So, if you're watching on YouTube, remember to subscribe. What the fuck is that? Is that a big piece of pasta? Is that a wet noodle?
Go on.
If you're on YouTube, remember to subscribe. Justin's distracting me. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. Let us know about what you think about the Subway Series. Is the Juan Soto hate deserved? Is it not deserved? Do you agree with me? Do you agree with Justin? If you're listening and can't see Justin putting a wet pasta in his mouth, I applaud you to go over on YouTube and watch that. But if you don't, Follow us on Spotify and or Apple Podcasts. Leave us a rating, leave us a review. Let us know you're enjoying the show. And as always, what's it called? Follow our social media accounts at Triboro Podcast, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Post lineups, post final scores there every single night. So give us a follow there. We'll see you in the next episode.
Bye. I'm waving.
Bye. Goodbye, Wet Noodle.